Hey everyone, we're taking you all the way across to Germany today in a heavily requested show. So with us today is the head of the German Academic Exchange Services in Mumbai, talking about all the exciting opportunities waiting for you to study in Germany. So Shubhata Chaudhary, thank you so much for being on the show today.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much.
And tell us a little bit about your wonderful organization and the work you do.
Okay, so the DAAD, it's the DAAD in German, which lots of people in India say DAAD or DAD.
Okay.
And it's an acronym for Deutscher Akademischer Austauschdienst, which is the German Academic Exchange Service. And it is a non-for-profit organization funded by the Foreign Ministry of Germany and by the Ministry of Education and Research.
Right.
So it is a not-for-profit organization, meaning that we do not charge for any of our services that we provide to the students. And our head office is in Delhi,
right.
And we have 4 other centers in India, one of course being in Mumbai, the other in Pune, and then the third one in Bangalore and one in Chennai.
Okay. And I also learned it's one of the largest funding organizations in the world.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. In 2016, we had more than 1 lakh scholarships given to all people across the world.
Wow.
And we have more than 75 offices all over the world. So it is a really large organization.
So let's talk about the biggest advantages for a student watching the show. What are his pros of studying in Germany?
Most importantly, when people look at Germany, it is that the innovation, the level of innovation that comes out of Germany.
Yes.
And innovation does not come out of thin air.
Of course.
There is
dedication.
a very specific foundation to innovation, which starts with the schooling system in Germany.
Okay.
So the dual schooling system in Germany, as it is called basically, you see, is a learning theory, but putting into practice that theory. And there is a very specific term to it in German, which is called praxis.
Okay.
And the student is given the freedom. The businesses are very friendly to the student to do their internships. So internships become a very important part. So innovation, internships, and putting into practice what you are learning.
Wow.
Given this option of world-class education in Germany, it comes at a fraction of a cost.
Yeah.
Because 95% of German universities do not charge a tuition fee.
Wow. This is huge.
Exactly. So a 2 years masters would approximately cost 15 lakh of rupees, which is barely anything in terms of an education and exposure abroad.
Sure, of course.
And also then there are a lot of opportunities to stay back in Germany and work in Germany as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, given all these points, we call it always, the 5 points of, why you should study in Germany.
But they are all fantastic.
Yes.
Each one of them beats any other reasons. So if you're watching, you've got all the reasons to study here, and let's ask her how to make that happen. So Shubhata, you spoke about this dual schooling system that's prevalent. So would you like to take us through the university system as well?
Yes, very much. In fact, that is a very important question that you asked, Chetana, because the system in Germany is very different from what we have in India, and also different from the US system, what people are aware about. It's rather different, you see. So on one side, there are the universities and technical universities.
Okay.
And on the other side, there are universities of applied sciences, which are called Fachhochschulen or Hochschule.
Right.
Now, the difference is that the universities are like our universities, where they have lots of subjects.
Yes.
And technical universities are again universities which are focused on technology, like we have IITs.
Right.
Okay, so that is a similarity. Also, the universities or technical universities are more research oriented.
Right.
Whereas the Fachhochschule, short formed as FH or HS, the Hochschule, they are the universities of applied sciences, and they are more industry or corporate oriented.
Okay.
Also, another very important fact is that if you are doing your masters from a Fachhochschule, then you cannot consecutively or immediately do your PhD from a research-oriented university, because the focuses are different. You can do it at a later point of time.
Okay.
But the University of Applied Sciences is not mandated to award a PhD. So that is something that people should
bear in mind.
Yes.
Very interesting. Another question that a lot of people want to know, is which is the best university to go to?
This is one question that I get asked every time. In fact, I have a presentation or a webinar or whatever, because we are exposed to the US system so much. But you have to understand that the education system in Germany is very different. It's a lot more egalitarian than it is in the US.
Yes.
And as you know, Germany is very disciplined. Germany has got a law for everything.
Yes.
So there is no question of fake universities and stuff like that, which I have heard a lot of students
in a few nations,
a few nations that they do. But in Germany, there is nothing like that. Also in Germany, there are about 400 universities, although it being such a small country.
Wow.
And you are not going to get 400 courses for the field that you are selecting.
Okay.
So it is more course driven.
Right.
It means that you will choose the universities that are offering you that course.
Right.
So if a X university is ranked at the top and it does not offer you the course that you are looking at, that ranking doesn't make any sense.
Right, of course.
Also, for example, in the world rankings, people do look at world rankings also, but then we are a little skeptical about world rankings ourselves. But apart from that, the LMU, for example, the Ludwigs-Maximilian University, which is ranked first in the world ranking, does not have an engineering course at all.
Right.
So from a German standpoint, there is really no ranking per se in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
But there is something called a CHE ranking, which is more of a comparison of various universities on 10 parameters. So you can choose the names of the universities, select the parameters that you are looking at, and then it will give you a comparison of those universities.
Okay.
So that is there.
Okay.
But of course, it is not 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of a ranking, which is the DAAD.de.
Okay.
Which is the main German website.
Okay.
And of course, we have another India-based website, which is under www.daaddelhi.org.
Right.
But this might change in the coming months to DAAD India, maybe, but let's see.
Yeah. So this was very interesting. You said that, every university doesn't offer you every course, and the students need to look up individual courses and then choose the colleges. So how do they go about this search? Where do they look for these courses?
Well, we have a fantastic web search engine that is created by the DAAD for international students. And it is called as I said, international programs. It is again available on the DAAD main web search engine.
Okay.
And there you have to, in the keyword, you have to put in your field.
Right.
And you choose which degree you are looking at, either bachelor's or master's or PhD. And then you click on search and it will give you a list of all the courses for that particular field available at various universities.
Lovely.
And then each item on this list is a link in itself, which will give you detailed information about that particular course.
Okay.
Yeah, so all the details regarding the course, like the requirements or, the course content, or what are the costs and funding, what are the services provided by the university, everything is available on this particular web search engine.
Okay.
And this International Degree Program's web search engine is especially made for English language courses.
Okay.
And some English-German language courses, which we call 80-20 courses, where majorly they are taught in English, 80% and 20% in German.
Okay. You mentioned 80-20. So one of the questions that a lot of people want to know is how much German do I need to know prior to even applying?
See, from an academic standpoint, you don't necessarily need to know German because the classes will be held in English.
Okay.
Rather, you would be tested, you would need to provide the ILTS or TOEFL scores.
Okay, right.
But on the other part, from a social standpoint, you obviously need to know German.
Right.
So to start with, we recommend that you do A2 level to begin with before going to Germany, because the moment you get out of the aircraft, everything is going to be in German.
In German.
And if you want to stay back and work in Germany, then we would recommend you to have at least B2 level of German.
Okay. But it's good to know that if they have a basic fluency in spoken German to start with, they can get there at least, and then they can continue their
most
learning.
universities offer on-campus courses once you go over there.
Okay.
So you can do those in the evening or whatever, and then come up, you can increase your proficiency as you go along with your education.
Okay, fantastic.
Also, we have seen that, we ourselves come from a multicultural, multilingual, society. And the moment you find somebody who's speaking your own mother tongue, there is a different connect with that person immediately.
Yes.
So the same with the German people as well. Also, you have to understand that for the German people, English is a foreign language. Unlike for us, we have been born and brought up in the language.
Yes.
But not for them.
Yes, certainly. And if you're looking to work in German companies, we're looking at engineering-based companies with shop floors, then I guess there's no two ways.
That is absolutely necessary then, because you need to not only know spoken German in that, you need to know business German in that
Right, of course. Communication.
Yes, and business communication, because that is different from your colloquial German again, you see.
Right. So Shibata, which are the fields that you find people increasingly applying for when they are applying to Germany?
Obviously, engineering from an Indian standpoint is very, very important, but management is coming up tremendously.
Okay.
There is a huge lot of inquiry for management, and Germany offers very, very good management options as well. There are two different options in Germany. One is the MBA,
right,
and one is the MS in management.
Okay, yes.
So, or MSc in management. So, MBA is generally a paid for course.
Okay, yes.
And they require work experience.
Okay.
Whereas an MSc is most of the times a free of cost course, and they don't necessarily ask for work experience.
Okay.
So this is a major difference. I mean, I have seen a lot of inquiry for banking and finance for that matter. I have seen an increasing inquiry for sports management, international management, and there have been on and off inquiries for law, psychology. As we always say, that Germany has produced Nobel laureates in all fields.
Right.
And there are more than 3.5 million foreign students in Germany.
Wow. So let's talk about the master's program that is the most popular route that people choose to when they go. So what sort of eligibility criteria would be there to apply for a master's program in Germany?
Generally, the eligibility is that if you have a 4 years bachelor's from India, then you are eligible for a master's in Germany.
Okay.
If you have a 3 years bachelor's, then you should get in touch with the course coordinator.
Okay.
Because they might ask you to do extra courses during that time, or they might ask you to complete another year in India. So lots of people do, for example, if they're coming from commerce,
right,
BCom,
right,
that's a 3 years. Then they do a 1 year's MCom.
Okay, yes.
That's a possibility as well.
Right.
But it's a 3 years is a little problematic.
Right. So any other criteria you're looking at, any age limit you're looking at for
this?
There
is no age limit, absolutely. There is, there have been people who have been working for 10 or 12 years and then they have applied for masters and gotten through.
Wow. So for postgrad, we're just looking at 12 plus 4. Yeah. There's no age limit, and any marks, etc. that you require?
Generally, yes. The German universities are a little more weighed down by academics than we have seen the US universities, because of course they have to justify finally the payment is coming from the German citizen,
Yes.
So they do look at approximately 70% and above, but that is not a hard and fast rule. Okay. It depends on your letter of motivation, on your recommendation letters. It also depends on how many students are applying for that year.
Sure.
What is the direct competition that you are facing? So there are a number of factors that go into finally getting an admission.
Sure. Hey, thanks for watching part 1 of this 2-part series of how to study in Germany for free. Now I'll do a quick recap and also tell you what to expect in part 2. So in part 1, we did about DAAD. We gave you top 5 reasons to study in Germany. We discussed the university ranking system and also where you can find all this information. We spoke about the German language requirements and some of the most popular course choices that people are undertaking when they go to study in Germany. We also spoke about the master's program and the eligibility for the same. Now look out for part 2, which is really exciting and full of information. because up first we're going to discuss the two types of PhD programs and the eligibility for the same, the undergraduate program, the Abitur, and if you're from IGCSE, IB or Indian Board, what sort of conversions do you need? We're also going to tell you about costs and tuitions and the various different types of scholarships that are available to you, because yes, it is indeed for free. We're also going to tell you about application process, deadlines, the kind of documents you would need, the various types of tests, for instance, that you would need to take. And we touch upon visas as well. So student visas, work visas, residence permits, the EU Blue Card, and lots of more information. So tune into that one. Keep watching, and if you have any queries, you want to ask questions about studying in Germany or about just about anything else, put them at the comment section at the bottom, and Shubhada will reply to them personally. I will reply to them as best as we can. And tell us if you want to watch any other video or any other topic you want us to cover right there at the bottom section of this video. And press that little red button at the bottom to subscribe to the channel, and happy watching.